G'day guys, Greg from Lever Espresso, and in this video we're going to talk about the final kind of recommendations for VFiPPs. I'm going to say something highly controversial, okay, but bear with me. The espresso that you get is dependent on the grind size. What? What are you talking about, Greg? Everybody dials in. Everybody knows that you dial in, you change the grind size to make the espresso as best as you can, right? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is an absolute grind size. What I'm talking about is you finding a grind size on your grinder that reproduces a kind of deep, tangy cherry flavor, and then sticking to it, taping it up. Tape it up so you can't touch this, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an absolute grind size. That's different to what we know in espresso today because everybody dials in. What I'm talking about is kind of the opposite of dialing in. I'm talking about the end of dialing in. That's what we're going to talk about today. So a single grind size, irrespective of dose, irrespective of roast, and irrespective of days off roast, right? Impossible on a standard machine. Not impossible on VFiPP because we can adjust the puck resistance. But let's back up a bit because I know everybody's looking for that one kind of absolute parameter that pulls great espresso. And every now and then we get people that say, you know, you should do this or you should do that. You should have no headspace. You should, this basket produces a particularly good espresso. You know, a 53 basket produces, or a 43 basket produces a good espresso. Or you should use 10 kilogram tan pressure. And everybody's looking for that single parameter that guarantees a good espresso. But there is none except for one, right? Because all those parameters I've just mentioned, they're all interdependent and they feed into this one parameter. And I gave it to you previously. That one parameter, I think I called it the diameter of the bypass channels in the lower section of the puck, right? That is the single absolute, if you will, parameter for good espresso. But unfortunately, you don't have access to it. You don't know what it is inside the puck. And it depends on so many things. But there is a thing that governs that parameter, and that's the grind size, because it governs the spacings between the grinds. And so this video is all about a new hypothesis that there is a single grind size on a grinder that we should be using to making espresso, and that's it. Once you find that grind size, stick to it. Okay, so let me ask you, what do all these things have in common? An IMS competition basket with a limited number of holes on the 58mm, that kind of turbo shot paper, updosing, right, up to 22 grams on the 58mm, a really fresh roast, a Pullman 30-gram basket, a 53 or a 54 kind of millimeter basket, no headspace, and what the other one is the no pre-infusion. What do all those things have in common? They all allow you to grind slightly coarser. If I was to pull a shot that was updosed, fresh, 22 gram dose on a 58mm with no headspace and no pre-infusion on the flare, if I was to reproduce an Australian cafe shot, I could pull on the 20 setting on that grinder. And I could hit that kind of sweet spot. And to answer Lance Hedrick's kind of question, why do we standardize on the 58mm? Well, we did so. I think they did so because they hit that kind of sweet spot with all of those parameters. But since then, we've introduced pre-infusion and we've introduced more holes in the baskets. And we're pulling like 18-gram shots. And we're getting towards like the 15 kind of grind settings. grinding finer and finer, and the cherry tasting notes, the depth of those cherry tasting notes, the finer you go, they're slightly muted. Okay, so what's so special about grind size 20? Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how it works. I don't know why grind size 20 reproduces those kinds of, that depth of kind of cherry flavor. Who knows? And that's the key advantage with VFiPP. VFiPP allows you to say this: pour me an espresso, 1:2 ratio, 30 seconds at grind size 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and let me taste all of those. There's something about grind size 20 that is particularly pleasant. And so in this video, I'm going to give the final recommendations for VFiPP. And that is for a Gaggia straight 9-bar machine, which is what everybody wants to use. We're going to use the 3000 hole basket that we're going to produce. For now, if you want to muck around with it, you're going to need a WAFO 35mm 3000 hole basket, and a 0.7mm constriction puts just enough force on the puck so that at grind size 20 on this Gaggia machine, you reproduce roughly the 25 to 30 second timing for 1:2 ratio. And that's going to be the recommendation. And a 0.6, by the way, if you want to use maybe an 18, 17 gram dose, 0.55, maybe we're going to produce a 0.55 if you want to use pre-infusion. So the more of these things you kind of introduce that allow you to grind finer, the smaller the button that you're going to need. So now I want to show you two extremes on the Gaggia with the 0.7mm and this kind of setup, right? We got to pull 2 shots, 20 grams. This delicious coffee, High Fidelity by 5 Senses that I picked up yesterday, it is a day off roast versus this, which is a decaf, I believe, that's been sitting around outside of this jar for 6 months, and it's a slightly darker roast, all of which will make it run faster. And it's going to become self-evident why with VFiPP, there's pretty much just the end of dialing in. There's going to be enthusiasts that are still going to be mucking around with grinders, but for most people, that's just going to be it. They're just going to choose a single grind setting, and that's it. Okay, so now with the camera reconfigured, we're going to pull 2 shots. Firstly, let's pull the 5 Senses coffee. I'm going to measure out the 20 grams. Okay, that's 20 grams. I'll just show you there. $20 grams. Let's pull the shot. This is at grind size 20. On this, it will be different on your machine. You'll have to find the grind setting that works for you. The WAFO basket, 3000 hole. I'm going to give it a shake, and we're going to give it a bit of a distribution just to make it nice and level. Then a tamp. I'm going to use 2 paper filters on this. I need to do the tests on that. I'm not sure whether that will make a difference. I'm just going to, actually, I just want to preheat this. There's going to be a burst. I'm not sure whether preheating is required, but it might be required. So if you just leave that in there. And if you want to change your headspace, experiment with different headspace, just put the water in and then lock it in, right? But we're not going to do that. We're just going to lock it in. Oh, I have to do it this angle. I will turn this on so you can see our shot. And then we'll try and pull, try and tear this. Pull at, that was 20 gram dose, so we're going to try and pull at 40. Ready? Oh, we need a timer. Go. I'm using a timer here, right? So I'm watching the 10 seconds. I'm going to stop it at 40, I believe. Yeah, so it's 20. That's 37 seconds. Okay, so we'll write that down. 37 seconds. 37 seconds, and we've got 20 gram dose. And we've got here 41.3, 41.4 grams out in 30 seconds. All right, now we're going to do the same shot. Let's have a look at this. Delicious espresso. By the way, here's a little interesting thing. You see that depth of orange color? When that crema dies down, there's like a depth of orange. And when you get that, for some reason, it tastes better. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Maybe the dissolvable, I guess that makes sense, the dissolvables. Anyway, we're going to pull the next shot. So now we have to pull a 20 gram dose of this. So I'll take this. We're going to have to give this a wash. You have to excuse me. Give me a sec. Tear this. Now this has been sitting around for at least, I think, 6 months. It's a dark roast decaf, which I don't drink. That's why it's been sitting around. I'm not going to show you the puck prep. Might just give this a bit of a stronger tamp just to give it a fighting chance. And you'll notice the amount of crema that comes out here is not going to be a lot because yeah, it's a well degassed coffee. So I'm going to wait here 10 seconds, and that's tear that was close. I'm going to wait another few seconds so it goes to 10. So 10 seconds. Twenty seconds. 30 seconds, 31 seconds, okay? And it's 41, oh, almost perfect, 41.3. Oh, and have a look at the coffee. A little bit of crema, but not much. Let's reconfigure and we'll have a chat about it. Okay, so just to sum this up, right? I'm just going to quickly show you the difference in the roast levels between these two coffees, okay? Light roast, and this one is well degassed. I think it's 6 months. It's a decaf coffee. It's a dark roast, and the puck integrity between these two is extreme. And we got, as a timing between the two shots, we had what is it, 6 or 7, 6 seconds, and that's why I kind of think VFiPP means the end of dialing in, because you will just choose a single grinder setting, and you'll just be sticking to that. I think this thing with VFiPP, finding the right grind size and then sticking to it, that kind of slightly coarser outside of that 58 mil, today's 58 mil, I think that's the best I can do. I want to make two more videos. One is on something that nobody talks about. I don't know why. It is a flavor in espresso I call the X factor, right? And I'll describe what it is in that second video. Nobody talks about it. It's almost indescribable, which is why nobody talks about it. And I'll tell you how to maximize it and how to actually taste it. And the second video I want to talk about is whether or not you should stir your espresso with a spoon, because I don't think you should. I'll give you my opinion on that, and then we'll wrap it all together, and that will be the best I can do. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.